The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
You're listening to the X-Zone Radio Show live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network. Visit us online at www.xzone-radio.com.
The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
I knew a man, Bojangles, and he danced for you in worn-out shoes, silver hair and ragged shirt and baggy pants, the old soft shoe. He jumped so high, and then he'd lightly touch down. I met him in a cell in New Orleans, I was down and out. It looked to me to be the eyes of age.
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and we're still coming to you live and around the world from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to give us a call, our lines are open at 1-877-528-8255. That's toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii at 1-877-528-8255. My email address is xzone@talkstarradio.com. On MSN Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com. And our websites, www.xzoneradio.com and xzonetv.com. My guest this hour is J. Allen Danilick, and we've had J. Allen on before. I've received an email from him about the analysis of the ABC primetime special called The Outsiders. Last night we had Stan Romanek on talking about his the book that he co-authored with J. Allen Danilick entitled Messages, the World's Most Documented Extraterrestrial Contact Story. And I'm going to bring J. Allen on right now. And J. Allen, always great talking to you here on the X-Zone. And I was wondering if you could tell me, what really ticked you off about the ABC interview and the special?
Well, thanks for having me on, Rob. I just was very surprised that ABC told really only half the story, and that they omitted so much of the verifying evidence that made it look like Stan was making stuff up or these things hadn't really happened to him.
I find it hard to believe that a person who has been shot at, beat up, has had their privacy intruded on, telephone conversations tapped, his house broken into. This certainly doesn't seem to be the MO of someone who is making all this up.
No, and that's what surprised me so much about the story, how they did it, because they spent a lot of time sitting down talking to Stan, looking at his evidence, going through all the footage, and for them to come around and just sort of dismiss 8 years worth of remarkable events as sleep paralysis or even outright hoaxing, I thought was really unprofessional.
Why do you think there are members of the mainstream media who take a look at the experiences of people such as Stan, who have gone through so much in their life ever since they started talking about their encounters, their experiences? Why don't you think they take a more serious look at the case?
I don't know. I think sometimes there's a degree of fear involved with it. Really, if you have to say something's going on in Stan's life, then you open a lot of doors, a lot of things that you have to kind of go down and explore. And I think it's a lot easier to just kind of ignore the whole thing and just assume it's all a scam than it is to really take it seriously and examine the evidence and take it where it leads you.
Now, when did you and Stan first meet, and under what circumstances were they?
Well, let's see. I probably met Stan probably about 3 years ago. There's a group here in Denver called the Paranormal Research Forum, and I got involved with that, and I was asked to give some lectures there. And Stan was a regular attendee there, and we got to meet over dinner and got to talk about his story. And frankly, at first, I was pretty skeptical about abductions and all these different things. And I thought Stan was a nice guy and honest and everything, but I really didn't believe the story. And then as I got together with him a couple of other times after that and began to examine the story in more detail, I became increasingly impressed with the degree of evidence that he was showing me.
J. Allen, you and I have to take a 2-minute commercial break. Great having you back on the show, my friend. J. Allen Daniluk is our special guest, and we're talking about how the media misrepresents the facts when it comes to UFOs and alien abductions. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone. We'll be back on the other side in 2 minutes. Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X-Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com.
Do you have a dis-ease that you would like to alleviate through a natural means? Have you been contacted by angels, ghosts, or even extraterrestrials and want to validate these experiences? Or would you simply like to speak with someone who can help you find your life's purpose? I'm Dr. Joseph Mara, and I'm offering my services free of charge for first-time clients contacting me during the month of April. These free consultations include angel card readings, guided meditations, life coaching, and energy healing. If you have always wanted to explore these types of experiences but were skeptical or simply could not afford them, then take advantage of this free special offer. Contact me through my website, aguidinglight, spelled LITE.com, to schedule your consultation today. Until then, I offer you love, light, and laughter.
I've been cheated, been mistreated. When will I be loved? I've been pushed down, I've been pushed round. When will I be loved? When I find a new man that I want for mine, always break my heart in two. It happens every time.
J. Allen Danilek is our special guest this hour. We're talking about an article that he sent us that we're going to be publishing in the September issue of the X-Chronicles entitled An Analysis of the ABC Primetime Special, The Outsiders. J. Allen, do you have a copy of the letter, the article that you wrote handy?
Yeah, I have it. I have it here.
All right, why don't you read it to the X-Zone Nation?
Okay, hold on a second. I might have to pull it up here real quickly.
By the way, I think it's an excellent article.
Yeah. Okay. All right, it's about a little over 1,500 words. I don't know if you want me to read the whole thing here or
We'll give it a shot.
excerpts from it or what.
Let's start at the beginning.
Are you still there?
I'm still here, yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, J. Allen Danilek.
Hello?
Are you there, Jay? What did we do? Are you there, J. Allen Danilek? Apparently we might be having some problems. Maybe his battery is dead in his phone, but what I'll do is I'll start reading it. It's an analysis of the ABC Primetime Special, The Outsiders. As the co-author of Stan Romanek's recent book Messages, the world's most documented extraterrestrial contact story, I was looking forward to the long-awaited ABC special detailing his unique case. When it finally aired on the evening of August 18, I, along with much of America, watched with great anticipation, assuming that I would see a truly objective and balanced approach to Stan's remarkable story. I was soon to be badly disappointed. Do we have him back? No.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay.
Just kind of clicked off on me here.
All right, great. So I just started to read I read the first paragraph, and if you'd like to take the second one.
Yeah, I wrote that. I know the subject matter, alien abductions, is a controversial one, but as one who has an insider's view of the entire case and was privy to the massive amounts of evidence Stan possesses that support his story, I thought ABC would do its best to demonstrate the veracity of the story. After all, they had tremendous amounts of material to choose from video footage and still photos to eyewitness accounts and even phone recordings of a mysterious electronic voice giving Stan advice about how to handle the visitors. Little or none of this was made it into the piece, however. What I did see, however, was a first-class hatchet job that barely deserves the title of investigative reporting. What was wrong? Well, for starters, the reporter, Juju Chang, looked like she would rather have been doing something else, really anything else, besides talking to Stan and Lisa about their experiences. It was clear by her pointed questions and general demeanor that she was not buying any of it, even on a hypothetical level. As far as she was concerned, Stan was making the whole thing up and insinuated such at every turn. I especially found her question to Lisa as to why she hadn't divorced Stan years earlier to be not only crass and unprofessional, but insulting. What was she supposed to say? Yeah, I thought of dumping the guy lots of times, but just never seemed to get around to it.
All right, now, taking that attitude, and after, how long was the interview?
Well, let's see, there was an hour show, of which probably about 70% of it dealt with Stan specifically. So the interview probably The actual question and answer period's probably not even 5-10 minutes.
And what kind of how much of Stan's evidence did they actually show during the interview?
Just a few stills. They showed some footage that he took of the kind of glowing red orb he saw back in 2001. A few seconds of the silver craft he saw in 2000, and that was pretty much the extent of it. Oh, he also showed a brief look at the little alien looking over the windowsill.
Right.
For about 2 or 3 seconds of that. That was about the extent of what they showed.
Why, like when we're talking about the contactees and how they're treated not only by the media but friends and relatives alike, how should we deal with people who claim to have been abducted by aliens?
Well, initially it's just a story. You can't really do anything with a story. But with Stan, he's got, physical evidence that supports the story. And at that point, it becomes a different issue. Now it's not just a story, as somebody told you. Now you've got something to work with. And that's what you need to do. You have to follow the trail where it leads you, regardless of your own personal opinions about it, and just kind of see what happens.
So why don't you think ABC took that stance?
Well, I think to really do the story right, it would have been hours and hours. They would have really needed to get in depth with it. I think that, I can't tell you what the politics at ABC are, how people think there. But my guess is that if they came out in support of Stan's story, it probably was going to catch a lot of flack from mainstream science and the mainstream media as being, ABC is going a little bit wacko on them. So that would be my guess.
What is the messages that Stan is receiving and that the visitors are giving Stan to give to the world?
Well, the message is pretty standard that you see in a lot of abduction encounters. The idea that we are an evolving race, that we have a lot of potential if we're just careful, that they're here really more or less sort of watching us and observing us, making sure that we don't get in too much trouble. It's a pretty consistent message throughout most abductees, I think.
1-877-528-8255 is toll free. J. Allen Danilik is our special guest. And do you think that there are as many alien abductions going on today, J. Allen, as that were reported in the late 80s, early 90s?
I don't know. It's hard to tell how many people have actually come forward with their stories, how many people are suffering from genuine dream paralysis, because I don't believe every abduction story is necessarily an alien abduction. I think there are other explanations we need to examine. It really depends on how people perceive their treatment. If they think that people are going to be more open to it, they're more likely to come forward with it. And really, until recently, it's been very difficult for most people to take that step.
Why is it then that these visitors only select a few people instead of making full disclosure and landing at, like I was talking yesterday to a guest, saying, why don't they just land on the White House lawn and in front of Parliament here in Canada and say, we're here, that's it, bang, get it over with?
Well, that's the question I've talked to Stan, why him specifically, why not other people, and he doesn't know. However, to answer the bigger question, why they don't just show themselves to us, I deal with this in my own book on UFOs that I wrote kind of a long time, same time as Stan's, that talks about how it would institute a degree of panic through our world. I think that even if only 10% of the population panicked, you're still talking 600 million people around the world. That's a lot of people panicking all at once.
But don't you think it would be better off if full disclosure was made, and that if the government is suppressing any information, that they come clean, because it certainly would answer a lot of questions and stop a lot of speculation, and in my mind, it would improve the situation instead of the deteriorating situation that we see unfolding each and every day.
Well, I don't know what the government knows. So a lot of it is speculation. How much does the government really have about this? What do they know that they're not telling us? What can they tell us that won't really compromise national security? For example, suppose they have some kind of satellite footage that they have acquired using the top secret satellite. How can they reveal this information without also demonstrating that they possess a particular technology that we don't want our enemies to know about?
So once again, it comes under the guise of national security.
To some degree. Also, it's the idea once you let that genie out of the bottle, then you never really get enough because everybody's going to want more information. Well, what else are you not telling us? What else are you not telling us? Pretty soon, I don't know if it would do any good at this point. The people's opinion of the government is obviously so bad now that I don't think there's much that can be done to improve it.
You know, I was just thinking that even if the government held a press conference and our Prime Minister and your President were standing in front of the national media, and let's say President Obama said to the media, all right, you've been asking for the truth about what your government knows about UFOs and extraterrestrials. Well, here it is. We don't know anything. Now, even if that was the God-honest truth, no one would believe them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when the Air Force came clean with Project Mogul in 1995, they finally declassified it as a way of explaining Roswell. It was immediately rejected by most ufologists as just another attempt by the government to sweep it under the carpet. So regardless of whether it was a legitimate excuse or not, people are already pretty well fixed in how they're going to look at it, and they're going to be predisposed to disregard it all anyway.
Tell me, what do you think happened at Roswell?
Honestly, after looking through it all, I really think it was a mogul balloon that went down, and the stories got just so blown out of proportion. Other people came along and embellished it, people that were later demonstrated to not be telling the truth, but that once it becomes part of the mythology, it's awfully hard to get rid of it. I think that there are some excellent stories out there, but I don't think Roswell is the strongest of them.
What do you think is the strongest story?
Well, I think that some of the things that the military have probably in their possession in terms of radar analysis, gun camera information, things that they have actually, when they chase these things, because this is good, solid evidence. There was an incident over Belgium back in the 1980s where a craft was spotted and chased by NATO fighters, and they got a lot of this on radar, on gun camera information, all these kinds of things like this. That's the kind of stuff I think that you need to really look at seriously and try to explain rather than go looking for 60-year-old balloons.
J. Allen Danilek, please stand by. You and I have to take our commercial break with the news at the bottom of the hour. 1-877-528-8255 is toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. In the next hour, we're going to be talking to Sue Storm, the angel lady, who will be doing angel readings for one and all who give us a call at 1-877-528-8255. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network.
The most famous television documentary ever produced was Victory at Sea, which was as noted for the swelling musical score by Richard Rodgers as the amazing footage from World War II gathered from over 13,000 hours of footage from U.S., British, German, and Japanese navies. RetroTelevision.com offers you 26 episodes of Victory at Sea, stunningly reproduced on DVD for just $19.95. The original 26 episodes are presented uncut with every note of Richard Rodgers' original score for just $19.95. To take advantage of this offer, go online to www.retrotelevision.com. That's R-E-T-R-O, RetroTelevision, you got to spell out television.com. Or go to TalkStarRadio.com to get your set of Victory at Sea episodes for just $19.95.
Douglas James Cottrell, who has been called Canada's Edgar Cayce, has just made available his latest CD, Douglas Cottrell 2012 Earth Changes, the first CD in the 2012 Prophecy series. This session features information gathered from the Akashic Records in a deep trance meditation session by Douglas James Cottrell in March of 2009. In this session, Douglas explains changes that have taken place in the Earth's core, changes to the Earth's poles, and the real reason why the polar caps are melting. Douglas also elaborates on increased volcanic and earthquake activity between now and 2012, including what, where, and when. To order your copy of Douglas Cottrell 2012 Earth Changes, visit his website at douglasjamescottrell.com or call toll-free 877-COTTREL. My name is Rob McConnell, and I would like to tell you about a very special lady that I have the pleasure of knowing, and that's Miss Sylvia Anthony. Sylvia Anthony believes the golden years are a time to gear up and get busy, not relax and take it easy. She has faced many hardships in her 84 years, but they have made her stronger and more determined. As founder and president of Sylvia's Haven, a shelter for women and their children near Boston, Sylvia has helped transform over 1,086 lives in the past 27 years, not only with housing, but also providing direction as to where they can go to develop the earning skills they want and need to live free from difficult domestic situations. Sylvia's Haven is everything to Sylvia Anthony, even calling it her magnificent obsession. Women who qualify for the program at Sylvia's Haven receive assistance via guidance counselors to find the appropriate job opportunity. Women and their children may remain at the housing for up to 2 years. At the end of this time, or sooner, a woman who is successfully employed and has an apartment or home may leave Sylvia's Haven to begin a new and independent life. Now this is where you come in to help make Sylvia's dream into a reality. Sylvia's dream is to have a Sylvia's Haven in every state to help as many women and their children as she can, and to help this dream come true. A crowdfunding site has been established which can be accessed at www.sylviasdream.org. Now that's www.sylviasdream.org. With your financial help and support, Sylvia Anthony will continue to help those in their time of need, not only in the Boston area, but with her dream of having a Sylvia's Haven in every state of the United States. Your help is needed to make Sylvia's dream come true. Please visit and give at www.sylviasdream.org. Once again, www.sylviasdream.org. And remember, the only difference between a dream and reality is just doing it. We need your help to make Sylvia's dream come true. Visit www.sylviasdream.org. Once again, www.sylviasdream.org. For the X Zone Radio TV show and the X Chronicles newspaper, I am Rob McConnell. You're listening to the X Zone Radio Show live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network. Visit us online at www.xzone-radio.com.
Don't look back, we've drawn the line.
My name is Michael Telstar, Canada's leading mentalist from Toronto, Ontario.
Hi, my name is Belinda, and you're listening to my dad, Ron McConnell, on the X Zone.
This is Psychic Dorothy from St. Catharines, and you're listening to Rob McConnell.
Hello, my name is Holly Reeves, an astrologer from Astro For You, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to The X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Oh.
J. Allen Danilik's our special guest. And J. Allen, how did you become involved in the world of the paranormal?
Well, I think it's something that stuck with me all the way from my childhood. I was always fascinated with UFOs and Bigfoot, ghosts, and things like that. And when I decided to get into writing as a career, I just naturally, you go with your strengths, what you know. And so I started to research this and found it to be a fascinating area, and the rest, as they say, is history.
You mentioned Bigfoot. What is your take on Bigfoot, and why do you think Bigfoot to this very day has remained so elusive?
Well, it's always been something I've wondered about. I do believe there's an excellent possibility that there's an unknown primate. The reason it hasn't been found yet, the only thing I can think of that makes sense is that this thing is more human than animal. And if it really is that intelligent, and it already has these animal instincts in terms of eyesight, smelling, hearing,
right.
It should be able to remain hidden pretty well, for the most part, if it's serious about staying hidden. So I think it's going to hear us a long time before we ever find it. So it's already gone. It doesn't want to come out.
How about the Patterson-Gimlin film? What is your opinion of that as far as validity is concerned?
Well, I've been really watching closely these different shows on TV where they've been dissecting it frame by frame and comparing it to actual people walking in, things like that. And I think that the evidence is really coming down hard that this is not a guy in a suit. I know there are people out there who will argue to the death about this, but my impression from watching it, and of course I'm not a naturalist or anything, it's just an opinion, but to me it looks a little bit too complex for just some guy in a hairy suit, with a football helmet on with hair on it. So I really think it's probably legitimate.
In your opinion, after doing all the writing that you've done and research into the paranormal, what is the most interesting aspect of the paranormal for you?
Well, what's really led me down a path that's been interesting has been reincarnation and ghosts, and the whole idea of post-mortem existence and how it works. And I think that has been the thing that I've taken the most from the paranormal and made my own, just in terms of my own understanding of my purpose here on Earth and what happens to us when we die.
As far as you believe, what happens to us when we die?
Well, I believe that the soul, or the personality, if you will, is an emanation of the soul. I don't believe it can be destroyed. I think the soul is immortal, and I think the personality will linger for a while when we die. It's eventually absorbed back into the mother's soul, in my opinion. And so what happens, those are where ghosts come from. These are entities that haven't made that transition back into the higher self, and they're still kind of stuck in this sort of twilight zone between the two worlds.
Sort of stuck in limbo?
Yeah, in a way. I think there's a transition zone that gives you a chance to acclimate yourself to a new spiritual reality. But if you don't move through it all the way and stay there, you're going to have like 1 foot in the physical realm and 1 foot in the spirit realm and not really be a citizen of either one.
Sherry from Little Rock, Arkansas would like to know what your views are on 2012.
Well, it's interesting you should ask, because I have a book coming out in November on 2012 where I look at these prophecies, not just these prophecies concerning 2012, but prophecies going back over several centuries, doomsday prophecies. My own position on 2012 is that I think it's really much ado about very little. I really think it was a Mayan calendar ending date. But how much significance it has, we really can't tell. We don't know really how the Mayans looked at it. I don't see there's any reason that we need to imagine that there's one day where everything's going to change. I do believe that our planet is in a transition phase. It is moving towards a enlightenment, but I don't think that's something that's going to happen on a particular day. I think it's a progressive thing that happens over decades or even centuries.
I know that according to one Mayan princess, she has come out and said nothing's going to happen. It's just an ordinary day like any other day. The calendar ended, and it starts again.
Yeah, it's kind of like when your car's odometer hits 100,000 miles. You know, your car doesn't explode; it just picks up again at 1 and just keeps going. And I think kind of the same thing is going to happen on December 22nd, 2012. It's just going to start. You know, it's just going to keep going.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
I have seen something that I couldn't quite explain what it was. I'm always hesitant to say, there's a ghost, you know. But when I was on board the Queen Mary, one evening I was walking through the hallways and I saw something that appeared to be about a basketball-sized glob of gray mass ahead of me in the hallway. And as I got closer to it, it just kind of scooched around the corner, and by the time I got there, it vanished. And I don't know what it was. I can't say it was a ghost, but to this day, I have no idea what it was.
Do you think that the spirit world is trying to communicate with this side of the veil more and more and more?
Well, I think that as people are more open to these experiences, I think people are taking these encounters more seriously. Now, I don't know if the spirit world in itself is trying to be more vocal, but I do think that there are individuals who are trapped in that spirit realm who may be trying to communicate with us. The difference is nowadays we're just more open to listening to them, what they're saying.
So how do you foresee the world of the future?
Boy, that's a loaded question. How I see it, I don't know. I tend to be an optimist. I think that we're going to work our way through our problems. We're going to have, setbacks and, bad things are going to happen periodically. But as I look over the whole breadth of human history, the last 3,000 or 4,000 years, I think that we're in a lot better shape than we have been in any point in our history. Slavery's abolished for the most part. I mean, we live longer, healthier lives. If you compare things to just 100 years ago, you can see a huge improvement, and I think that's going to continue to happen.
Another one of our listeners, her name is Sandy. Sandy's listening to us in Tampa, Florida. Sandy would like to know, where did her email go? Oh, she would like to know about the Bermuda Triangle. How come there have been no reports of any missing aircraft or ships in recent history from the Bermuda Triangle?
Well, I think that's because the Bermuda Triangle is probably not really a mystery at all. I think that this was another contrived creation of very fertile imaginations back in the 60s. And I don't think there's anything particularly significant about the Bermuda Triangle other than the fact that it's such a heavily traveled area, both by air and sea, that you're naturally going to have a higher percentage of small boats and small craft disappear there than you would in other places that were less traveled.
Why do you think so many people today, J. Allen, are turning to the paranormal for answers they can't get anywhere else?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think that I can only answer why I turned towards the spiritual realm more. I came out of a traditional Christian background. I think that the old answers just aren't working anymore. They're not giving you all the real solutions to our life's problems. They're giving you just kind of canned answers and saying, believe this and don't question it. And I think people are starting to get to the point where they're brave enough now to actually explore other avenues. And even if they don't take them where they want to be, at least they feel that they're able to at least ask those questions where they couldn't do it, 50 years ago.
You wrote a book on UFOs, and based on your research and the book that you wrote, what is the most compelling case for the existence of extraterrestrials that you've been able to find?
Well, my book wasn't really a book about different UFO stories. I wanted to work more the theory of it, why they would come here, that kind of a thing. I can't really name any one particular incident I think that is the best. I mentioned the one briefly about the NATO planes chasing something over Belgium a few years ago that I thought was very compelling. But it's not any one case that said, that must be, that's the golden UFO story. That's the one that makes me believe. I think it's a cumulative effect over a period of time, which tells me that something's going on that can't be explained away as a weather balloon all the time.
At the beginning of the year, there was that Stevensville sighting of a massive UFO. What's your take on that?
Well, the thing is, I'm always real leery of these things because they take on a life of their own. So somebody sees something, and they call it in, it makes the media, and then almost immediately everybody else starts seeing the same thing. Now, I'm not saying there wasn't anything there because I don't know. I wasn't there, so I can't tell you if there was something. But I'm also aware of the fact that people have a tendency to see what they're looking for, and if they see something they can't explain, many people have a tendency to immediately look for the most complex answer, extraterrestrials, rather than trying to figure out, okay, am I looking at an airplane? Am I looking at Venus? Am I looking at something else that can be explained? Or is it definitely, a flying saucer?
So it's our perception of what we're seeing.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's been the big problem with the whole paranormal field. Whenever I investigate something, I have to wade through kind of the sensationalism and the hyperbole and the exaggeration, try to get to the base core truth of these things. And that's always been the hardest part because there's so much stuff to wade through that just is people's imaginations or desires or fears, and it just kind of gets in the way of what's really out there.
Now, with all these ghost groups that are popping up everywhere, they're calling themselves researchers, investigators, detectives, hunters, you name it, they've got a name for it. How do you think that this is affecting the field of the paranormal in general?
Well, I'm always, in favor of people wanting to go out there and do some serious research. I think that when the Ghost Hunters came out on TV, I think it got a lot of people open to the idea of doing this. Now, the problem, of course, with that is you get a lot of the unstable people out there or the sensationalist people, and that kind of gets in the way again of the real research. But I'm always in favor of people wanting to look into these things, and the more eyes there are out there in different haunted locations, the better the chances of finding that kind of definitive evidence that's going to make science look at the issue a little more seriously.
To get science to look at the issue more seriously. Don't you think, then, that the people who call themselves ghost hunters, ghost researchers, or ghost detectives, or whatever name they want to call themselves, should have a little bit of basic knowledge in the sciences before they go out trying to capture the all-important, proof that there are ghosts, or that, yes, UFOs are real, or that there is a Bigfoot? It seems that there seems to be a lack between wanting to become, and then once they make that decision, they just declare themselves these experts with no experience at all.
Yeah, that has always been a problem. Obviously you need to have some basic background, a good foundation upon which to build. And you need, really, even more importantly, some objectivity. The problem is that some people look at ghost hunting like a hobby or something that gives their life some real meaning, and so they're not looking at it as a scientific discipline. They're looking at it as fun.
A social outlet.
Yeah, a social outlet. So that's where the real problem becomes, because I get zillions of people send me pictures of orbs all the time, and they think they've caught ghosts. And it's because they haven't bothered to do their research and try to look at other explanations that I'm having to constantly send emails out and say, no, I think you got a piece of dust in front of your lens, and that kind of a thing. So, I think it's just human nature to get excited about these things and want some meaning in your life, but you also do need that foundation if you're going to be serious about it.
Jay Allen, how many books do you have, and when's your next book coming out?
Well, right now I got 4 books out. I've got the 2012 book I told you about coming out here in November, and I've got a book about the airship of 1897. Some amazing incidents back then. We don't know what it was. That's coming out also in October. And I even got another book on reincarnation coming out again next summer. So I'll have about 7 or 8 books on the shelf by then.
Excellent. Once again, I'm sure you get this question all the time. Why are so many people interested in reincarnation these days?
Well, because it answers the question of what happens to us when we die. I think the old paradigm of heaven or hell just isn't working with a lot of people anymore. They don't like the idea that you live a life, it's over, you spend eternity either in heaven or in hell, wherever it is you end up. I think they are beginning to understand that there's a much bigger purpose going on, many more things are happening behind the scenes, and that's why I think reincarnation is appealing to people so much.
Jay Allen, Danelik is our special guest, and J. Allen Danelik and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as the X Zone continues live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
Always wanted to play the guitar? With the Victor Lee Guitar Method, if you've got a song you can hum in the shower, in just one easy lesson, you can start actually to read sheet music and play the guitar. You'll be playing beautifully in no time, and the tunes you write can actually be played on other instruments using the government-endorsed Victor Lee Guitar Translator. Victor Lee's amazing offer is online at www.victorleeguitarmethod.com. Learn how to play beautifully the guitar and read music and translate the music you write to be played on other instruments. Music is the international language, and the copyrighted Victor Lee Guitar Translator instructions are available in most languages spoken around the world. Go now to www.victorleeguitarmethod.com. Open yourself to a wonderful world of music. www.victorleeguitarmethod.com.
Are you getting tired of all the bad news? Well, then take a break from the worries of the world and play the love game. It's time to focus on what is really important in our lives, our relationships. You deserve more love, happiness, and harmony in your life. Synchro Hearts is the new hot relationship game that guarantees more love, laughter, and romance for you and your partner. It's not a sex game, it's a love game based on all the important relationship stuff like better communication, more intimacy, and lots of fun and excitement. Great intimacy is just one of the benefits of playing Synchro Hearts. Now, President Obama inspires hope, love, and peace for the world. Synchro Hearts offers more hope, love, and harmony for relationships. To order your very own edition of Synchro Hearts, visit Synchro Hearts' website now at www.synchrohearts.com. That's www.synchrohearts.com. Synchro Hearts. It's the game you love to play and play to love.
With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
It's always the same, it's just a shame, that's all. I could say day and you'd say night. Tell me it's black when I know that it's white. Always the same, it's just a shame, and that's all. I could leave but I won't go, though my heart might tell me so. I can't feel a thing from my head down to my toes. But why does it always seem to be me looking at you?
Welcome back, everyone. Jeff Danilik's our special guest. His website is www.ourcuriousworld.com. That's www.ourcuriousworld.com. On his website, you have all the books that he's written. You can order them directly from there. And once again, that is www.ourcuriousworld.com. Atlantis. Was Atlantis real, or was it just a myth, Jeff?
Well, can't really know from this far ahead in time, but I believe that it may be a mythology having to do with an advanced civilization that existed maybe 12, 13,000 years ago that destroyed itself. So I think there's a good chance that there was an Atlantis, but again, I'm not definite about it.
We were talking about reincarnation before we went to the break, and, we were saying that reincarnation is a hope for people, that life continues after death. How can we prove reincarnation to be real?
Well, I think that the work of Dr. Ian Stevenson was very compelling. He would interview children as young as 3, 4, 5 years old who had conscious past life memories. These are not hypnotized children. These are children who are remembering this as soon as they can walk and talk. And I thought that was really compelling evidence, how they described these past lives that they had lived, how they died, who their children were, things that you would not imagine a 5 or 6 year old would come up with, and that actually turned out to be verifiably true. So I think if we ever prove it, it'll be something along those lines.
Jeff, as always, it's great talking to you. What would you like to tell the X-Zone Nation when it comes to what they believe or what they see or how they feel about the paranormal?
Well, I try to be open to different ideas. I don't ever say that this is true, this is not true. I try to look at the evidence. I try to gauge the person I'm talking to, see if they're credible to me. I just would say be open to the mysteries around us, but also be very careful not to just immediately embrace everything you hear as true.
Jeff, give out your contact information and how people can get your books.
Yeah, you can get a hold of me through my website, ourcuriousworld.com. I have an email link there if you want to send me a question or a comment. I'd be glad to hear them. And all my books are available on Our Curious World as well. Thanks a lot.
My good friend, take care of yourself, Jeff. Always nice talking to you. And until the next time we meet here in the X-Zone.
Well, thanks a lot, Rob.
All right,
I appreciate
buddy.
it. It's been a lot of fun.
Take care of yourself, Jeff. Bye-bye. J. Allen Danilik has been our guest this hour. His website is www.ourcuriousworld.com. That's www.ourcuriousworld.com. All right, X-Zone Nation, when I come back from the news at the top of the hour at 6.5 minutes past, the Angel Lady returns to the X-Zone. The one and only Sue Storm is my guest for the next hour. And she'll be doing angel readings for one and all who give us a call at 1-877-528-8255. Now, that's toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii at 1-877-528-8255. My name is Rob McConnell, and this is the X-Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard, Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern. That's 7 p.m. Pacific until 11 p.m. Pacific. The Angel Lady and yours truly, Rob McConnell, will be back with you on the other side of this commercial break as we continue live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
I could say day and you'd say night.